Hello everyone, and it is time for an opinion piece video. You may have heard the recent, perhaps devastating news that avocados aren't vegan. Yes, that's correct. According to a British TV host, avocados are not vegan, and it seems as though the internet has blown up with this allegation. Um, and I think it seems quite frank to me that people are having a happy laugh and delight at the fact that avocados aren't vegan. But let's delve into this. Okay, so let me see. I've got a few things here, just a few articles. So, avocados aren't technically vegan, a British TV host claims. And here she is. I don't know her name, Sandy Toksvig. She's a presenter on the Great British Bake Off. And she basically shared this news. And people have been tweeting about this. People have been writing about this. You know, you couldn't get any articles written about the Animal Rights March in London when there were 10,000 people. But, oh my goodness, suggest that avocados aren't vegan, and everybody wants to write an article about it because what better way to get at those vegans in your lives who are making you feel guilty for what you're doing. So anyway, just going to look at some of what this says here. So avocados are the trendiest fruit we can think of. Of course, people are loving avocado toast these days, and there's all kinds of love for avocados, from paleos to vegans to anybody. But of course, sadly, they're not vegan friendly. And the reason behind this is because migratory bees are used, I'm not going to say in all avocado production, because I've been to Jamaica where avocados are just growing on the trees in my family's yard. But I guess in big farming, migratory bees are used to help produce avocados as they are other foods such as almonds and kiwi, even lettuce I've heard. So according to this host, she said it's the same reason as honey. They can't exist without bees, and bees are used in, let's call it, an unnatural way. Because they are so difficult to cultivate naturally, all of these crops rely on bees, which are placed on the backs of trucks and taken very long distances across the country. It's migratory beekeeping, and it's unnatural use of animals, and there are lots of foods that fall foul of this. She went on to say that other fruits and vegetables such as broccoli, cherries, cucumbers, and even lettuce are good examples of this and are not actually strictly vegan. The British host revelation actually broke the internet. Vegans are crying. Non-vegans are celebrating. We're all craving avocado toast. And to me, this line right here, non-vegans are celebrating, just sums up what this is really all about. Non-vegans are always trying to play the gotcha game. Like, if you say you're vegan, oh, well, what about your shoes? What about the leather in your car? Do you have tires? Like, they want to prove to you that you cannot be fully vegan. And you want to know something? What they're all missing, and hopefully what you guys are not missing, veganism is not about perfection. It can't be perfection. We do not live in a perfect world, but we can do the best we can. The definition of veganism is to exclude animal products from our diets as far as is practicable. In other words, some things are not practicable. We have to eat something. And if we cannot eat or drive or do some other things without perhaps some element of an animal product being in existence in our hemisphere, that doesn't mean you're not vegan. It means you are doing the best you can. And how do we do the best we can? We take the conscious choice to not contribute deliberately to the slaughter, use, and abuse of animals. Now, honey, I read somewhere where they're saying because bees make honey and they're slaves to make honey, that's why vegans object to it. And from my understanding and talks with vegans and what I've read, vegans don't necessarily object to honey because bees have to work for it to make honey. Because bees have to work to make most of the produce we have out there. That is nature. What we object to is bees working so hard to make all this honey for themselves, and oh, here we come along and we take it all from them. There's an argument by some, I've heard from some vegans that, perhaps small farming when it comes to beekeeping that's ethical is okay, etc. We need to help replenish the bee supply. That's not what this is about. The point being that vegans don't believe in taking the hard work of these bees and clipping the bee's wings of the queen bee so she can't move and has to stay put, essentially, so that the worker bees surround her and create all this honey that is then sold for profit. That's a completely different story to bees living and flying around and pollinating. Now, I'm going to admit I do not know exactly how you transport all these bees and how do you collect them all after the pollinating. Maybe someone here can tell me how that's done, or I'll look that up. But really, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. Are avocados not vegan because of this? And I also think that this is where we make a huge mistake, and especially when it comes to the gotcha game. Avocados are vegan because they're a plant. Palm oil is vegan because it's a plant. Is everything ethical surrounding the production of and collection of palm oil? Not necessarily, and not by a long shot for a lot of companies. In some cases, yes, but not in every case. We have to make the distinction between what is actually vegan and what's unethical. So anyway, here's just another article. Basically, it's the same thing, and trust me, I found tons of articles about this. Again, no articles about the animal rights marches. So what does this article basically say? I guess it's just recapping the same scenario. I wonder how many times I'm going to have people tell me avocados aren't vegan for the rest of my life. Exactly. Tell me about it, Heather. And finding out that vegans aren't technically vegan has made my day. Vegans are a joke. Bye. I mean, why? What's this about? Why are non-vegans, who are the majority of us, who can eat what they want, who can go to any barbecue without getting ridiculed, who can go to any restaurant without seeming like a pain in the butt, why are they so happy about this? Avocados aren't vegan? Crazy. So apparently avocados ain't vegan. Vegans be tripping so hard. No, not really, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not tripping about this. I have no concern whether or not avocados are vegan. I know they're vegan. I know that, unfortunately, based on this modern society we live in, we have messed up nature in a major way. So this is one of those, as far as is practicable, scenarios in terms of how to be vegan. If the only way to continue to grow certain plants that are good for our health, that we need, because it might be a whole host of plants, is to have migratory bees, then what are we supposed to do? You can grow your own, because I'm going to tell you, I've grown my own lettuce, and I've had no problem. I've grown potatoes, I've had no problem. Like I said, in the islands, there's no problem with avocados growing. And when I was in the Dominican Republic, I saw so many almonds on the ground all over the beach that I was upset. I thought, and it made me think, people keep saying, oh, there's so much water that needs to be used to grow almonds. No. In the Dominican, they were growing based on the rain falling on the island, and there were almonds everywhere, and I didn't see any migratory bees. These were just wild almond trees growing plentifully all over the island in the parts that I was, and no problem. So again, it depends where you live, and we have messed things up in North America, no doubt. But anyway, let me see here. It says the Daily Mail reached out to PETA for their ruling, come on whether or not avocados can be classified as vegan, and the executive vice president of the agency, Tracy Ryman, said, going vegan is about making kind choices that bring about positive change. Average shoppers can't avoid produce that involve migratory beekeeping any more than they can avoid driving on asphalt, which has animal ingredients, but they can save nearly 200 lives each year by choosing plant-based foods instead of meat, eggs, and dairy products. So there you have it, still vegan. And let's just see, I think the rest, oh yes, oh dear, some potentially devastating news for the vegans among us. Yeah, we know. Carnists are the ones who are just going absolutely nuts and happy about this. I consider this to be ridiculous. But you might have a different thought. I don't know what the solution is, but Unless we get back to living in nature the way it was intended, there are things that we can't change. But eating an avocado is not the same as slaughtering a cow for your food. So let's just see what this says. This says 10 things you thought were vegan but aren't. Okay, so yeah, this is the one. Bee slaves. And they talk about almonds and almonds being such a prized vegan ingredient and how onions, cucumbers, these rely on migratory bees. And again, as I told you, in the Dominican, I didn't see a single problem with almond trees blooming. When I was in Barbados, it was the same thing. So guys, I'm not worried. I don't know about you, but I think this whole hype about avocados not being vegan is just fodder for the carnists who don't want to change their diets because they know they should, and we trigger them, so they have to have ammunition, and that's why they're lapping this up. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I'm going to be eating avocados still. I don't have a problem. But again, I would love to hear your thoughts, so please chime in and let me know what you're thinking about this topic. And that's all for now. I'll see you in the next video.